What is up, everybody? It's your boy Davis on CFG Games. I am with the CFG GameCast crew with Smitty and Lex with a special episode that I was wanting to do for a long time because there's going to be games that we all overlap and we all play at the same time. And I just wanted to have its own special discussion instead of using the podcast itself for it. So this is our very first ever spoiler cast for a specific game. So this is very exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to be chatting it up about a specific game. And also what we're going to probably do on this is this is not live. We are not using Twitch for feedback. It's mostly us just having a full fledged out discussion about it. So we're going to release this on two different outlets. We're going to release it on YouTube in video form, and we're also going to release this on podcast form. So you could definitely check it out. Released sometime this week on podcast services on Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, iHeartRadio, whatever. And if it comes on, if it picks up, we'll probably do some more in the future, or maybe we can have one of someone's choice of like saying, hey, try this game, and maybe we all play it and stuff. But there's certain games that I will not play, like Oregon Trails, but still,
that's so round.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it is. Well, it still is, because every year when I do Extra Life, there's always a person that says, "Hey, I'll give you this much money. I'll donate this much money for you to play Oregon Trails." And I'm like, okay, fine, let's just do it. So I do. And then it's always the same way. I die of typhoid, or I do something stupid in one of the stupid rivers. And then it's like, and half my people just die. That's what.
Oh, no.
So,
wishbone.
Yeah, wishbone. No, I'm good. Probably, I'm going to make a list of games I'm not wanting to ever play again, or wanting to play. But anyways, I digress. Let's get this going. We are going to be doing the spoiler cast of The Last of Us 2. We all played it. We all have our own specific opinions, so we just all come together in a nice package, and we're going to discuss it all together to see what our thoughts were about that game. So let us get down to it. So I believe the person that most recently played it finished it was Smitty, which was like, so it's pretty much fresh in his mind, right?
It is, yeah.
All right. And
go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I believe Lex and I are 1 week removed. That's all I was gonna say. So So overall, since Smitty's the one that the person that's most recent to it, he has it fresh in mind. I just kind of want to see, like, I want to get his like immediate thoughts of the series of the game, or like his experience of the game.
So upon finishing it, I don't know how I feel about the game. I enjoyed playing it. It felt very familiar, a little, and I would say maybe a little too familiar. They didn't really do anything new as far as like with the gameplay. It felt very much like playing the first one. There were some new weapons that we got to use, so that was pretty cool. I enjoyed playing with the different weapons and whatnot. Overall, though, I mean, a gorgeous, stunning game. However, the story did not. I think they kind of missed the mark as far as with the story. And again, the story was pretty solid. My biggest issue, I would say, with it is that I found myself actually disconnecting from Ellie. And I felt like Abby's story was way more compelling, and she went from this I hate Abby to, oh my gosh, this woman has been through so much and this and that. Like, I enjoyed her story arc way more than Ellie's. Ellie just seemed like she was pissed at the world. You know what I mean? And just all, like, she just seemed like very one tone, I guess. It kind of felt to me, and I just felt like they fell short on her story. I kind of, getting to how it ends, the big climax of it, and the fight with Abby and whatnot. And she's sitting there. I really feel like, like, for her, it was she has that flash of Joel dying, and it was just kind of like, like, what am I doing? I threw away everything that I had built up, for this one moment, and it's not even going to be satisfying. It's got to stop. And then she just stops and tells her to get the hell out of there. Which was I felt like that was I liked the way that they went and took that. I felt like killing Abby and getting the revenge would have been it would have been the easy route to take. I feel like not only that, but we've also now through that story as players got to connect with this character Abby. I don't know how, however you feel about her, but I was way more empathetic towards her in that moment, being like, I remember at one point in time being Abby and we're going after Ellie, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill her. I was like, I'm gonna kill Ellie. That's how it's going down, son. And you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to kill either one of them, but I would have I think I would have been okay with her killing. I was like, there's no way Abby's not going to kill her. I was like, she's Jack, man. Like, but it was interesting. And that for me was one of the biggest disappointments. And, again, we all came to love Joel. But I know there's a lot of people that were upset about how he got taken out and how he was killed, and they felt misled that he was a part of the game, but he very much was still a part of the game, but it very much just turned into way. Yeah, exactly. It just turned into, to me, a revenge story. Obviously, knowing the end, it ended up being, but we got to think she killed a bunch of people too along the way, so she was getting some revenge. She just didn't get
Abby took out her, basically her whole crew that she rolled with, and it was like, I'm sorry, not Abby, Ellie took out the crew that she completely rolled with in less than 3 freaking days, which is scary to me. I was just like, golly. Yeah. So, I see what you're saying, but I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. I just want to say, and for me, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Again, I love it. If you've played the series, I absolutely think it's worth playing. I'm sure we're going to get into, there's been some chitter chatter about the game and some of the themes and some of the things that happened within the game. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing it. For a lot of times I was playing it after midnight. So I played till 3 a.m. or something to get a few hours in here or there. But every time it was nice and easy to be able to jump back in. I kind of hated the hint system. I felt like that was a little obnoxious. It's cool after a while, but it'll keep spamming you, even though I was like, look, dude, I'm searching around looking for cards or scavenging or whatever. It's like, leave me alone, dude. I know where I need to go. But I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was that hint system kind of threw me off guard a little bit too, because I know there's how there's those parts where it's says press L3 to look at what you're look at the boat in the distance, and then it's then hint, but then they use the same sound effect for both of them. So sometimes I'm I know where to go. Why are you telling me to go this way? I was I like to hunt everything down just to make sure I don't miss anything. And it's was I here too long? So now the game thinks I'm lost. It's no, yeah, you're right. That system kind of got a little obnoxious, but yeah, okay. That's a good, that was a good one. And Lex, I know you have a lot of feelings on this too. What are your thoughts of The Last of Us Part 2?
So I'm coming at it from a different angle than both of these boys are, because I played the first game a week before the second game came out. First time rather, it was my first try as well, but I'd waited years to play either game because I knew there was going to be a second one, and I joke that I have muchness and I need to play the second one now if there is one. So I knew that if I played this years ago, and I'm glad, because back then, I was having brain surgeries, I probably wouldn't remember it, because there's books that I've read that I don't remember reading. So in that case, Joel getting taken out for me was the epiphany of Abby must die. Let's be honest.
I think it's fair to say that I think it's like that for everybody who played this game. It was you did what?
Yeah, no, you played golf with his head, you must die. And we talked about this on the podcast previously, that like I really connected with Joel. I'm a huge Daddy's girl, and maybe I put too much of myself into this, and a little too much of my dad into Joel's seat. But I was really connected, and so for me, the whole like you guys losing a bit of Ellie in this, to me, I feel like I didn't lose Ellie at all. Like Ellie is fresh in my mind. That story's fresh. Everything about it is fresh. And so going from this extension of, and I think it was for like everyone in my chat too, because when we would switch to Abby, it was like, oh, not this again, groans from everybody. It's like, great, can we throw her off a roof? And I'll be honest, I did a couple times. Just because I could, because we were all mad at her, like, throw her off. And, like, I would say 22 hours in was when I started to not mind being Abby. And I'll tell you why. Because she's gone through the same things Ellie has. She's lost people, she's lost everyone, just like Ellie has. Whether you want to admit that or not, to if whoever you are most connected to, both girls have lost everything. They've lost everyone. And when it boils down to it, it is a revenge story. It absolutely is. But I think at the end of it, the message that it sings is so loud and clear that it doesn't, getting revenge isn't going to take away that pain. It isn't going to make you feel better. It isn't going to give you this new life's purpose, because that's not what it will. And I think we take that for granted in our real life, like whether it's like microaggressive revenge or like full blown like punching people in the face. It doesn't feel good at the end of it, right? Maybe you got that anger out right at the end, right at the beginning, but eventually, like, that is going to take a turn on you and you're going to feel regretful. And I think, ah, man, the whole story to me, and I loved Lev. Spoiler alert, I loved Lev, loved his story. We can talk about that, the three of us, more in detail in a little bit here. Um, I think he was a pivotal part of making me enjoy Abby.
Yep.
Her gameplay and what she was about, because without Lev, I would have kept throwing her off a fucking roof. Honestly, I would have. Um, and and if you look at it, the characters as Abby and Ellie, they are polar opposites. I'm a huge book nerd. So I pick up on these things. Abby is built like an ox. She's taken her aggressions from losing her dad and not being able to save him, and her then feeling weak out in the gym. Literally, she's been bench pressing for years so she doesn't feel weak in her real life, that she can save whoever she has to save when she has to save them, because she's never going to let that happen again, right? But it does happen and she can't stop it. There's nothing she can do. And I think that's a huge realization for her story arc as well. Whereas Ellie, Allie's my nickname for my god kid, sorry. Ellie is built like me. She's frail, she's thin, she's tiny, and she's gone through almost the same experiences as Abby, but in a polar opposite kind of way. But they're totally different. She's shorter, she's smaller, she's tiny. And so this character, there's a few times where you're as Abby without a weapon having to go up against Ellie, and you're scared of her and hiding from her, because no matter what size she is, she can kill you, and she can kill you easily. Like, that's how they've taken their life stories as of late and turned it into, I'm never going to let that happen to me again. And we know this with Ellie because of the conversation she has with Joel that we can't hear, that's just for her and Joel, where Joel tells her, I will never let anyone touch you again. Well, Joel's not around anymore. So now she's kind of taken on Joel's persona of a killing machine, essentially, because we've seen him do it how many times? And she's taken on that role, and she's good at it. She's been good at it. And so why has she ever had to go to a gym and lift weights? She hasn't. She knows she's good at what she does, and she's fantastic at it. And so these two polar opposites are just coming at each other, and it's riveting. And I have to be honest, I give it a 9 out of 10. I loved it. I loved everything about it. my chat was mad that we didn't kill Abby, and I'm sorry, Ravage. I can't help you. We had a lot of people mad that it didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. And I think, like Smitty said, it would have been easier for one of them to die. That would have been the easy way out. But then what? What did that accomplish? It accomplishes nothing. They're all still in
it
this.
accomplishes satisfaction. That's what it accomplishes.
for Ravage, but for the bigger scheme, like what does it accomplish? It doesn't. I mean, they're still in this wasteland. They're still in 2039 where it doesn't matter. You know, the people that they trust, they still have to keep a side eye on. You know what I mean? Like, you either get murdered by your own people or by clickers, and it's a sad story. Like, you're either in a cult or you're in the wolves or whatever other faction there is, and you're constantly in a fight for your life, whether it's against other humans or the clickers. And I think it shows that these two girls with their revenge story, it like, what does it matter? At the end of it, it's like it solves absolutely nothing. And honestly, I think a lot of people could take a page out of that book because it's true. It really doesn't. And I mean, if we want to get into more details, we can. But yeah,
What?
Abby playing golf with Joel's head was just
yeah. You know
what
what?
did you say? What?
Sorry,
You scared me.
You know
Smitty.
what? This it kind of reminds me. I mean, it's the same concept as The Walking Dead, right? You have this virus or something that's come out and it's overrun the world, but opposed from the threat of the zombies, you see that there's more issues dealing with people and different factions and different belief systems and things like that. You know, it's like it very much reminds me of The Walking Dead.
Right. Like like I mean definitely this game definitely shows off that there's more to it than just the clickers that were in the game or that's in that was in the game itself. And that's how the first one was like too. Like eventually like because like I didn't even think about like other factions that were inside that game until you meet the Fireflies and then until you meet the random bandits and stuff that were there. But I guess on my side it's kill or be killed. Trust don't trust anybody kind of mentality.
But if you think about it, if that happened now, that's exactly how it would be. Because none of us at the end of the day can really come together. Maybe a small group of us are intelligent enough to figure out that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. Let's try to save the human race. That's just kind of how it would be. And it sucks to think about it, but that's the truth.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, yeah, but like, I definitely, I mean, yeah, that's what made The Walking Dead at the time for its time before they kind of jumped the shark later on, really good. It was like, oh, okay, it was more than it wasn't the fact that it was zombies that was holding people back. It was now you had to worry about zombies and now society, like how society is going to be, and that's exactly what the Last of Us Part 2 is. It was like because most of it wasn't the fact that the clickers are there, but then when you seriously think about it, there are the roamers, the ones that are recently infected, but the ones that are more serious, like the clickers and the stalkers and the bloaters, the ones that and stuff, they have to be like like in these incubation periods, like or the areas where it's like fully pollinated and all with the pollen and stuff, because they don't like going in the outside and stuff. They stay in those really dark areas. So like remember like the hospital, that hospital stage where you fought that really crazy one.
That was crazy, dude.
Where it's like ripping off pieces. I almost spoiled it for Smitty. Sorry.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But I love that fight. That fight was awesome. So like but it was like when you get to those points, you can live around that because it's simple. Don't go to those places because that's what it was. That's how it was mostly was normal. That was normality, and then people just had to be on their their A game on alert just to make sure that they're not going to get taken out by the ones that recently have converted and stuff. But it was like, but then you had like, especially in Seattle, when they said like originally there was multiple factions in Seattle that caused this break. Before the wolf there was the Fireflies, but then even besides Fireflies there was Lev's group, the I forgot what they called them, but the
It was
Oh well, they call them scars, but it's like technically scars is a derogatory.
Yeah,
the Seraphites. Yeah, but technically it's like a derogatory term with scars. But still, it's like you have to worry about these kind of people as well as people trying to, and then your normal everyday surviving. So like so that's what I definitely loved about this well, that's what I love about the world of Last of Us. Now, with that being said, from my opinion, on I was actually I actually had a really pretty interesting point, Lex, because I know y'all were saying you say that I'm the most pessimistic or the most the most strict when it comes to it. Smitty is the most optimistic person that I know when it comes to this kind of thing. And if Smitty gives it a 7, then I'm thinking to myself, okay, so so something's up. So like, and I feel like I feel like the game kind of missed its mark on me a little bit. I will say that the game is like, I mean, you can't get away the fact that this game is gorgeous, especially if you have a 4K TV running at 60 frames per second and stuff like that. This game was beautiful when it comes to, with this stuff, and like I definitely appreciated that. And but like they also, like, the one thing I really liked too was, like, I think this is the biggest for the game. I think this is the most progressive that a game has ever been, was the accessibility options. Their accessibility options was incredible on that. Yeah, so like I think that because I mean I know you have like lists of different kinds of issues and stuff when that's why you don't usually like playing console games and stuff. But like literally and I have a friend that works at Naughty Dog, and he said specifically that they engineered this game to be possible to play this game if you were completely blind. And I was like, that is insane to say. And then literally there was they break it down. It was like there's a blindness, there's deafness, and there's motor skills. So even if you can't use your motor skills very well, there's a way to still play this game, which allows it for everyone to play this game. So they definitely did it. I give them an A+ on that kind of stuff, because like now more than ever, I'm really glad that they're putting this into account in gaming and stuff. But now, as for the mechanics of the systems, like I think proning that they added to the game was was a really good move on them. That was one thing that they added, but that one didn't have. So there was a lot of good situations where you were able prone. Yeah, but basically you're
down,
belly laying down and you're crawling and stuff. So that, I think just adding that small mechanic, it was really fun. That was really good to do towards it. But like, I mean, they did everything right. Gameplay was still a little bit, it wasn't like the best thing since sliced bread, but it was still very solid. And I definitely and I think it was very solid for what they were trying to do for the battle system wise and stuff. Sometimes even the sound effects were really kind of creepy.
The sound design was great. The sound design is fantastic.
Oh my God. Like I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, it's like, because because my mentality when I play these games, I don't like shooting, because I don't like, I'm always paranoid that someone's going to come from the outside. So I always use melee of some sort. So like the number one weapon that I had was Ellie's switchblade, because she's gotten took out so many people with that blade. But then you hear them bleed, and you hear them like totally drown in their own blood, and they're all like, whoa. It's like, oh my God, it's very disturbing. So all these are so good, everything was good. So when I played it, I was going through the process of it. Ellie's side, I mean, like you were saying, the whole situation when Joel died, I was like, okay, cool. So basically this is going to be a revenge game. This was going to be Ellie going to go back to Seattle, hunt those people down, and take them out, and then do their own thing and stuff. I think when that with all that happening, with all that when that all happened, I was like, okay, this is really cool. This was fun. The exploration. Then even God, I hated Dina, but even like all the stuff that's happening, I was like, this was actually a fun experience to go to. Then it gets to that point that they decided to say, okay, let's go on Abby's side of the story, and that's where it lost me. Particularly, it wasn't because I didn't get it. I just didn't think it didn't make sense to me on why they were wanting to push the character of what Abby was, because at this point, the for me saying like you killed Joel, I was like, this makes sense. I was like, okay, you're what's her name wanting to do this. Now the problem is, I feel that when they said, okay, here's Abby's side of Abby's side of the revenge plot, of the revenge story, and see where she comes from, is that she has an uphill battle for you to care for her. Like, and then and it's a really steep uphill battle for you to care. So like so when you, because like this is a really cool comparison to me. You remember when Glenn died because of Negan in The Walking Dead? Okay, so I don't think you care. Okay, so
I've never
when
seen
Glenn
it.
Okay, so in the comic books and stuff like that, Glenn was like a person that was one of the original group people that was like a really big piece of the deal. So okay, yeah, so okay, yeah. So Negan, so the first introduction of Negan was them meeting his group, and he kills Glenn as a like as an example, if these people don't mess with you. And then so Glenn was one of those people who was like, wow, he's been there forever, and it sucks and stuff. It was very graphic when they did it in the TV show, and boom, there you go. But then now you're going to be like, in your mind, even by default, Negan is a dick. Like Negan is, it doesn't matter what Negan does. He could save all the kids from a burning orphanage and do all this different kinds of stuff on it. But the fact that you killed Glenn, a person that everyone knows and everyone has come across, that's not going to be enough to justify this kind of thing. And I kind of pour that to kind of like with Abby. Yes, Abby has a reasonable reason on getting revenge back on with Ellie, or getting back with Joel, which she accomplished and stuff. But then at the same time, it's like okay, Joel was like, you understood Joel because you went through a 15-hour trek in The Last of Us 1 trying to figure all this stuff out, and now this person that you just met in 2 has that vendetta that you just recognized. And then on top of that, like, they wanting to say, that they're trying to make her more humane. The reason why she became more humane was because of Lev. And if Lev was not in there, then you like, could you imagine? You would probably have been like, why are we playing this game? Mm-hmm. I would have been like that would have been like, okay, I hate Abby 100%. Since Lev was in the game, I hate Abby 85%. I don't care. It still doesn't justify the whole thing that they went through just because Lev was in the story. It made her, they kind of made her more humane on what she wanting, that she wants to be a good person and stuff. But it's not enough for me to be like, okay, this is like, you went through a lot of crap even on Abby's side just to deal with it. So I was like, no, like, they tried a lot. They tried so hard for people to convince you that, yeah, there's two sides of the coin. And I felt that like, even with the writing on Abby, I don't think that they did it really good enough of a job to be like, okay, I understand that I know what y'all's moral is basically like saying the circle of hate, the circle of killing is never going to end until someone finally just stops and then just let it be. But like, the way they did it, and then plus the process of getting to that point, really kind of irritated me. Because like, there's one of the other things that really kind of irks me are when they use flashbacks as progressiveness in story modes. And I do understand that there are certain parts where that you would want to do it, but they did a total of 8 different flashbacks on the, even like they did 3 for Ellie, and they did 5 for Abby. No, 4 for Ellie, and then they did 4 for Abby itself. And one of those flashbacks was a turn of events that was happening on Abby's side that went into another flashback about the relationship between her and Owen. and I was like, oh my god, it's like, and then it was so ridiculous to me that they were going to this part, and I did not like I just couldn't stand, like, I mean, I was just like, come on guys, seriously. Like, I understand that there's the parts where like the hospital scenes and stuff like that was like, okay, so it shows trauma, it shows PTSD on the fact that of what she's experiencing of when she finds out her dad died, and what she could have done, or what it could of the possibilities, or what's in her mind when she met Lev and what's her name, Lev and his sister. But like, man, like sometimes some of those strains were a little bit longer than they should have been, or they should not have done it at all, because like, or they should have just done it as like a they could have changed it uh as a what's it called, shorter version of FMV, because because like once I was doing them, I was like, I really don't care about your relationship, Owen. I really don't care between you and Owen. Like, I understand that you definitely digged her, you made your pass in the first one, understandable. Then it's like you didn't need to do another. So sorry, had a technical difficulties by me messing up. I totally boofed that myself. But anyways, like I said, like I was saying, I was just saying that, like, I didn't like some of these flashbacks where I think either were too long, or they were just monotonous on what they were trying to reflect. There are certain I'm not saying they should not use flashbacks, but I will say that they needed to. I felt that the way that they were trying to be like, oh, this person had a love life, like a love life, or was in love with this person, and then this person moved on, and then did with other things that were happening. I was like, I just did not care. I mean, I really didn't. I mean, I didn't care about Owen, or I didn't care about Mel and them. The only thing that Owen's contribution was besides the fact that he basically killed, basically made a death wish by leaving Ellie and them alive, was the fact that that they have a reason to go to California. That was it. I mean, for me, but yeah. So, but anyways, overall, I think the story itself, I feel, was not as good as the first one, in my opinion, and I think that and it definitely showed. And I feel that they were wanting to do. I think that they put a lot of different aspects that they were wanting to put in the second one, story wise, to fill, because I mean, they had two different love triangles in this game. I mean, when you think about it, they had two different love triangles in this game, and then like and they were both annoying to me. So I was just like, this is very odd to me. I mean, there was different aspects that they were wanting to do, different things that they were wanting to convey with different characters. They wanted to introduce new characters to you, but I just couldn't relate, because the only thing I tried to keep the open mind of like seeing what they were trying to go with Abby, but I feel that direction was already clouded, because there was something that she did that was pretty much unforgivable. That was like that kind of made me kind of close off. I mean, maybe inadvertently close off on her towards it. But like overall, the game, but I agree with Smitty, and I definitely, I agree. I mean, definitely agree with Smitty on saying that. I think it's a must play. I mean, you still have to play it. I think the story, even though the story does fall off for me, I think that the game is beautiful. The game, I think the fighting, everything of it was good. If you played the first one, you definitely should try the second one. Maybe not get it at full price, but definitely get definitely experience the world. Just keep an open mind, I guess, is the biggest thing. Just keep an open mind from everything that it was. But I would have to rate it, in my own personal opinion, would be like a 6.5, 6.5, maybe. Nah, 6.5 is good. I would give it a 6.5 at its best. And the reason why I give it a 6.5 is because of story. It's 100% story. You can't. I mean, there was nothing wrong I liked about. I mean, everything else worked in all the good engines in myself, but like that story really brought it down, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from. Like I took some notes because, and like I've told both of these guys, like I appreciate Davis's opinion on games and why he didn't like X, Y, or Z. Because a lot of the times you'll ask somebody, "Why didn't you like this game?" Well, because I didn't like it, and they get defensive. And it's like, no, I just want to know your opinion. Like, what I don't understand why in this climate nowadays everyone gets defensive. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's okay. I'm just curious as to why or what made you give it the rating that you did. I took some notes. So I think the reason that they show I not think. I mean, I'm like 99% sure. The reason they show that there's two love triangles going on is because in the setting that they're in, a lot of the times in like middle school, we all go through that, right? You date someone that your friend dated or vice versa, and it happens, right? But it's because you're in these smaller cliques, these groups in school. Well, take that and put it in a climate where your friend may go out on a run to try to get more supplies and they don't come back. So their dating pool just gets dwindled smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think that's the whole point of them showing two love triangles on either side, that no matter, it doesn't matter if you're part of the wolves or if you're in the colony that they have, which I think they just call it Maria's colony, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that they all live in. Yeah, they don't, I don't think they actually have a name for it. You know, your dating pool is like X amount of people, and that gets smaller and smaller by the day, the week, the month, the year, however you want to take that. And so I think that's why they show that. Now, the flashbacks. Okay. I've seen a lot of people online getting confused about it, and you're a very intelligent person. Smitty is intelligent. I'm intelligent. We know that they're flashbacks. I don't think, and this isn't to say that all people are stupid. I'm just saying you also have to take into account that sometimes people aren't as smart as you think they are. And I think that's why the flashbacks are there, because, you know, we are the average bear, essentially. And I liked the flashbacks in the fact that it was showing this psychological PTSD moment for all of them, and that yes, you're getting these flashbacks, but the ending to each one is absolutely different than the first one. Even though we're like, oh, great, we're in the hospital again for Abby. What's it going to show? The dad's alive. He gets shot. The dad's dead. He's on the floor. He's being resuscitated. You know what I mean? Like it's these moments that I think are pivotal in each character, and that's why it's showing it, because I don't think if they set it up the way that they did, that a lot of people would have been able to follow along or understand right away off the bat, yes, this is a flashback, this is what's happening, and then this is why we're seeing this. You know what I mean? And I think we have to take into account that as smart as we think people are, they're half that intelligence, because sadly that is the truth. And you know, we all surround each other ourselves with intelligent people because like minds. However, that's not always the case. And um so yeah, I wanted to touch on those points because
Well, the
I
flashbacks
appreciated them.
itself, yeah, but I mean, like, I'm not saying like I said, like, I don't think the flash. I think flashbacks absolutely need to, they need to put some, will add context to what they were telling. But I'm just saying the amount of flashbacks that they did is where I think my biggest problem was, because like Ellie, like for instance, Ellie and Joel. You remember the time when they went to the, I don't know, was it a hotel? No, no, not the museum. The museum was one because it was showing like when was one. I feel that that was something that should have been, that should be in it. But the one when Ellie was needing to get guitar strings, because like the guitar strings were still were but they needed to go to, the wanted to go to the music store, but they had to cross through this hotel or something because the road that went to the music store was completely weathered. Like that whole scene, the only thing that you got out of that was specifically, oh, there's two lost travelers that originally left the village maybe a couple months back, but we never heard from them again, and that was it. Like it wasn't, it was more like, it was like, okay, so they were trying to have a time, but the quick moment of it was they had, was that Tommy was trying to give them a time for them to bond of some sort, before she found out the realization of what really happened. But that whole scene was like an hour long, It's like, I mean, that kind of those kind of things was like there's ways to depict that you could do those kind of sessions of what's it called, like for instance, like if that was the case for them to be doing an hour-long flashback for that, why would it be like when Ellie finally decided Abby, it was that she wasn't going to kill Abby, it was because of two brief flashbacks that he had with Joel on the porch, not saying anything, but it was just her walking up to Joel, and then she decides, I'm not going to kill Abby. Like they didn't. I mean, like, because obviously you knew immediately that there was something that was more into that, into those two things that was in her mind. But then, and then they explained it later on. That's a better way of showing that stuff. If they wanted to show something about like, of them about like, of them trying to bond, because, it was kind of like it always had like a weird atmosphere between Joel and Ellie at that one, ever since they went to the colony, because she felt that there was something more that Joel didn't tell her. But I like there was those instances that I was like, man, you have to go through all this week. I killed like 30 stalkers, like 30 things just to find out, like just to realize, hey, we're not, forget the music store, let's just go back, since we found these bodies, we're going to bury them and stuff like that. That was a useless flashback to me. That's what I'm saying. It's like that added on to the playtime, but didn't really add a lot to the story itself, because they were wanting to show those kind of things. And I'm saying, like I said, so like once again, I'm saying I think flashbacks is necessary. I just don't think that the way that they used them utilized the story progression as much as they thought that it was. And to me, it just felt like busy work on certain ones, not all of them, but certain ones that they could have done a better job at. And like, cause like even in the first Last of Us, there was no flashbacks. I mean, well, there was a flashback. I'm sorry. The flashback was the beginning, and that flashback was useful because of two things. You knew what Joel had a daughter, and two, it was the tutorial of the game that let you learn how to play the game. And then that was it. And then that tutorial was an hour long. Then it also made you feel like immediately after what happened in like after they went to the end, and the government was trying to kill them. And then they survived somehow. Like they could have done that. That increased. There was story progression, and there was a good reason for it. And then so that's why I count these things really strictly, because like they knew how to progress it very well in a way where people understood it. People didn't need to really think deeply into it, and they were just like, okay, let's move on, and let's go do that kind of deal. So yeah, so that, I mean,
I can see that's my yeah. No, there definitely were some scenes that were definitely filler ish, and they could have done without them, or you know what I mean, it just didn't really progress the story any. My biggest thing though, going back to the juxtaposition of Ellie and Abby, I think maybe the time period in which I had played the original Last of Us, I no longer had as much of a connection to Joel. Joel, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't have that. I didn't have it fresh. I didn't do like you, where you went right into this intense thing with this man, into all of a sudden next thing you know he's dead. Yeah, I had a good 6 or 7 years to do that. And again, I didn't like seeing it, but I didn't feel like I don't know. He just, it's like for me, like he very much became Ellie's father figure. Ellie is our main protagonist. This is her story, not his. And so being able to do that, I guess I don't know. I didn't connect as much, and I guess that's why I was able to connect more with Abby and their story, and just seeing kind of the parallels, running together up to this climactic point. You know what I mean? Like I had a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed that part of it. At first it was just like, damn, dude, it's like I gotta go back, I gotta run this all over again. But as I saw like how we got to this one point in the theater, all of a sudden I was just like, oh my gosh, like my view of her had completely changed from where we originally started. And I think it might be the fact that I did not have that same connection with Joel, because I could see how she would just it's hard to, it's almost like, I don't know if you guys watched 100, but there's this character called, all right, Murphy. Look at that character's progression from where he started to where he is now. You know what I mean? Like, he has been the villain, the bad guy, and like we're, you know what I mean? Like, but now we kind of see him more of a positive light and that this and that. So, it's like, I kind of envisioned that being the same type of character that she is. Maybe there just wasn't enough time for you to be able to say, you know what, yeah, I can forgive her. And I still kind of feel weird about it. I still feel kind of weird about it. But the fact that Ellie can move on, me and how I feel about this character, maybe I can too. And I'm curious, not to mention, and I don't know what their plans are after this. I feel like too that maybe they have a bigger universe and a bigger story that they're actually telling, and this is just a subsection of that bigger story. I would love for that to be the case. That would change everything.
I don't know. I kind of want.
That'd be.
I hope
cool.
they. Yeah, for me, I'm thinking I think I'm done. Like, I'm mostly done, but I think if
You're
they
always
stop.
done.
No. I think if they stop if they stop with what's it called? If they stop Last of Us Part 2, like if they say they announce that they're not doing any more Last of Us, I think I'll be fine. I mean, like, I don't think that would be. I'm not like the first one was making me yearn for more. Then they got more, and I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I think I got my quota of Last of Us 2. If they make a 3, yeah, I mean, I can play. I can. I'll play it, but it's not going to be like the hype I had between from 1 to 2. I would say, because like I really feel that they're not going to be like, because they like Ellie's in Wyoming or wherever, or Wyoming and Oregon, and Abby's now in like somewhere specifically in California to be a part of the Fireflies. So unless the Fireflies become like a big threat again or whatever, or they find another cure or
Ellie's still
whatnot,
out there.
but still, and then yeah, and Ellie's just randomly out there now with 2 fingers missing. It's like, yeah. So it's just like, I mean, I'll be like, you know what? I won't be sad if they don't make another one, and I think I'm already fulfilled because with this one kind of disappointed me. So like, I would say that it like that now I'm at a point where it's like if they make a third one, my hype of this is going to be like normal. I'll be like, okay, the game came out.
That's a filthy lie. That is a filthy lie. So. He'll get all hyped up about it. We all like to pretend like we wouldn't get hyped up. I will absolutely. There's absolutely going to be a third to this because I do think that there's a bigger story that they can tell with this and just how it ends and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a lot that they can explore as far as with this game. Again, this very much is one of those series where I feel like they'll kill off a major character as we saw, and all of a sudden things will start progressing in a different way. And there's always resistance when people do that. You see it in TV shows and things like that too. But I think it's absolutely brilliant to be able to do that because you never know what can happen. And there's nothing more thrilling than playing something or watching something where one day you're a person, because it just emotionally destroys you or it emotionally does something to you, and I think it's such a powerful thing to do. Exactly.
And that's the point. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, what's the point of watching something or playing something if you never feel anything? There's none. And I think that like it touches upon a bigger picture of, well, maybe it's restoring a little bit of our humanity with it because we're so desensitized with what we see and what we hear in our own media and our normal day to day that I think that it kind of restores a little bit of our humanity every time something like that happens. And I think now, if I had to say which one I liked better, I did enjoy the first one better because I liked that bond between Joel and Ellie. That's just me personally. Did I think that made the second game any less? No, it's just a very different storyline. And I enjoyed it. I mean, it was funny to watch everyone else's reaction in chat. Like I said, every time we switched to Abby, everyone lost it. They freaking lost it. And I think it's because the first game was so fresh in their minds. And it took me a while. Like I said, it took me hours. I mean, 20 plus hours to learn to love Abby. And I did eventually. And no matter which way you spin it, everyone in this universe and this storyline has such, God, it's just what they go through is so traumatic. Everything. And we've discussed this with the other character as well, Lev.
Oh yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
I mean, if we want to discuss it, I mean, unpopular opinion, I don't think Lev was dead named. I don't.
Oh no,
Um,
I totally agree with you too, because like theoretically, I mean, if you want to go literal in the world, literal in the world, I don't think like the only person that called him Lev was his sister
and Abby, because
and
Abby
Abby,
met it right. Abby
because he
met Lev as Lev.
was introduced as Lev, right? And
Correct.
Abby didn't know or cared, and as well as no one should really at that point. But but
Right.
still, it's like overall though, it's like yeah. So the place that he was fleeing from, the Scars, or the I can never get the name right, so I'm just gonna call them Scars.
Seraphites.
Yeah, it's like sorry if I offend someone if I call them Scars, but they're really
It's
Seraphites. But anyways,
Seraphites, yeah.
but like the people that were fleeing from they didn't accept accept Lev. They saw Lev as a troublemaker, and then when they were and then when he fled because he was going to be arranged married off or whatever, like then the whole thing. So like to me, I think like because like there was a lot of backlash about Lev as a character itself, himself, even like like, and I didn't even know until Lex. Every time I'm saying Lev, I'm thinking say Lex, but with Lex, I didn't know until I didn't know that Lex until Lex told us before the podcast that she was like voiceovered by a transgender male, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Like who
The
was it?
same character who's in OA. Oh God, what's his name? I'll find it
Let's
in just
find
one
that
second.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the same character that's in OA. And if you haven't watched OA, oh my God, the first season's amazing. Second season, a little confusing. You may have to watch it twice. But the little boy in the OA who has shaved his head in that show as well is the voiceover, and that person is transgender in real life, is the voiceover of Lev. And
Mark Ishii?
no. No, 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 no. Hold on, I'll find it for you. But you know, I had heard within 24 hours of this game being released, all three of us were like, "Why is there all of this black backlash?" I think you're about to say it, Ian. What?
Ian Alexander, yeah. Ian
Yes, Ian
Alexander.
Alexander does the voice. I tried to see if Ian Alexander is like sad that he played this role or any mentions of it. There's none. And I think if you look at the storyline, if you've played it, because there was a lot of people just saying, "Oh, there's another transgender who's being, treated terribly like the rest of the media." I would disagree with you and wholeheartedly, because how the story progressed, Lev and his sister were thinking they were going to be warriors, right? Fighters for the Seraphites or Scars.
Well, sister was a warrior.
Right. And
She
but
was
Lev assumed that he would as well. Well, when it came time to it, Lev's sister was indeed a warrior, and it turns out Lev was going to be married off to an elder, which means baby town USA, whatever you want to say it. This poor child was going to get it, and not in the way that he wanted it, because he doesn't identify as a female. So the compound, or Seraphites, however you want to say it, only know that this person, whose name was Lily, shaved her head in defiance, which is an automatic no, because that's death. That's committing suicide. They don't know that Lily is not Lily. Lily is Lev, has been identifying not as female. Only his sister knows. All of the Seraphites know is that this child has shaved its head and is now fleeing because it doesn't want us to kill it. Right? That's all the Seraphites know. And so when you're playing, you hear Lily or acolyte, which is not a good word either. It's basically like defiant one. So yes, they're saying this child's name angrily because it ran away and defied what it was supposed to do, which was to be married off and have babies for this elder,
the
right?
way you're saying it sounds a little disturbing when you're saying it. I don't know,
Well,
it's gonna be like him.
her. I mean, he's transgender, so to say they were going to be married off. My apologies, I'm not trying to misgender anything, I'm just trying to get the point across. The Seraphites do not know that Lev identifies as male. They don't know that Lev has even changed his name, and that Lily is now a dead name. So to say that you haven't played it, you haven't experienced it for yourself, and to just write this game off with less than 24 hours of it being out, because it wasn't until 21, 22 hours in that you even meet this character, to say that you're not going to play it because they dead named this character, I would say you're missing out. You are horribly missing out. If you liked the first game, you are missing out. And you're getting the story wrong. And to say that they only put this character in to traumatize it, to create this trauma, I would disagree with you there too, because everyone's going through trauma. They're either being killed by other humans or by clickers. That's what this game is. This game is trauma at its core, and you are there to live it out through the eyes of the character, through their point of view. And I think a lot of people they jump to the gun. Oh, another transgender being misplayed and mistreated. Everyone's being mistreated. Everyone. This poor child was going to be given to an elder at what, 12, not even 13, to be basically a sex slave for this elder to have its babies and for them to do whatever they want with this poor child. How horrendous is that? Right? This is going back into olden days. And this is 2039. Yes, the apocalypse has basically happened and you're living in this world, but I'm going to have to say it, unpopular opinion, they did not dead name Lev. So
yeah, well, I mean, I think theoretically, in my opinion, I mean, like,
those were
I
the
would be on the
series of
same boat on
events.
it too. I mean, I like theoretically on what went down and like how it went down. Yeah, I really think that they made Lev a really good character personally on the way they switched it. When especially with the time that you had with them, especially how late that they also introduced him and Yara to it. And then I mean, because they literally added another side story into the story, the story jam-packed story, and it's like it showed the side of the acolyte, not the acolytes, well, the scars.
Seraphites.
Yeah, I will never get that.
Do you
But
even know what a
yeah,
scribe for?
pretty much. Yeah, so like so like when I heard all of this, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so this is what's going down. And then when I finally hit that part, because that was the only part that I knew that I was going to be that I knew that was coming, but I just didn't know how it was going to come.
Or when.
So yeah, or when. So like so when I finally did, I was like, oh, okay, so they did that. So they weren't doing it on an insulting way. It was more like on the fact that they didn't know at all, like this is what's going down, because he obviously didn't give that information out to anybody on like, oh, this is what I want you to do. The reason why he left, the reason why he escaped was he probably didn't tell anybody except his sister. Sister understood finally, because the sister also didn't accept him for a bit until she finally was like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. I understand what you're wanting to do. I'll help you, and we'll both run far away from this place and from this cult, essentially. So yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think I'm on the same plan. Based on that, I think that was yeah. So I definitely
within the context of the story. Again, too, you got to think that these people are living this old world type of lifestyle. So you know what I mean? Even the concept of somebody being trans, I don't know that they, again, it would take somebody a while to even be able to get on that level. Like, I think I understand what you're saying. The Seraphites had no clue. You're right. This was the bride to be that went and was defiant, and now the punishment is death. But I think it would be, again, if there wasn't some sort of, something like this, this is something that happens in real world, not to that extreme, but in real world situations now. I feel like it would be disingenuous to say that you have this character and something like that, again, is an issue. But I don't think that was the point of that. Within the context, again, these were people that didn't know or probably don't even understand what that concept is, and which is, I mean, even within that, you have like, what the hell are they doing marrying off 12, 13-year-olds, within this religion,
Right.
So yeah, I didn't go ahead.
Well, and what's funny, They touch upon it too, that the main person, because you see these beautiful like paintings of, and the reason they call them scars is because they have Chelsea smiles essentially. You see, the person in her prophecies or her book or whatever that she wrote in, there's no violence. That's not what they were about. And once this person died, everything about the religion got twisted and tainted and all of this, right? And so and she even Lev, he even talks about it, and so does Yara at some point, that it was never in the book before that if you shave your head you're going to be murdered, that you're being defiant, and because you're being defiant there's no like prior punishment to death. It's death. So all of the females, if you look at the group, they all have their hair very long and in this braid that kind of halos around their head, which I think is symbolism of something with their religion. They don't really touch upon that part, but all of the females are to have long hair and it's to be braided a certain way and this and that. And that is that. And if you go against it, that is death. And I think that shows that, yes, though the wolves and the fireflies were thinking that the Seraphites were extremists, from their perspective, of course, but now we're actually in it and we're seeing that, yes, they are extremists, they are a cult, and this is why. This is just a small portion of why they are considered an extremist group. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what it touches upon. Not that they're trying to purposefully dead name this character who has come out as trans and is male and feels trapped in his body. No, it's them seeing that he shaved his head because he's being defiant, and this is the process of that after. You know what I mean?
No, most definitely. I definitely understand. That's crazy. But no, I mean, but like overall, like I'm definitely thinking like I think we kind of are on the same kind of tone with The Last of Us too. I think Lex, if anyone, it definitely rang the strongest tone of it.
Yeah.
But
from the female perspective, I think it rang a little louder for me.
Yeah. Well, even at the female perspective, I just think that I mean, I liked Ellie. I mean, I liked Ellie. I really did. I think it's for me personally. I think it's just Abby's line and the little bit of the small weird aspects of it just didn't click with me as much. That I wish I did. I kind of felt like it was mostly a lot of different kinds of busy work. That
I tried so hard to hate Abby. I did.
See, that to me was the saving grace. The Abby part. So yeah, that to me was like that was the. I felt like Ellie was kind of one tone, and you had all this depth with that.
But I think that's what the flashbacks for Ellie were that she didn't just have this one tone, and the Abby or the Ellie that we're seeing now wasn't always this Ellie. That she did. It took all of these things for her to get to this certain. She
was in
point,
rampage mode, Ellie.
Dude, she was, and I do not blame her because that's how I get too when I get hyped. I'm just let's go. I'm in a mission. Let's go. I don't murder people, by the way. I'm just putting that out there. But you know what I mean.
When you think about it, it's like, man, it's like you just think about like it only took Ellie 3 days to take out all the fools that were in that room except for one
terrifying.
person.
That is terrifying.
Like, oh my gosh, yeah, it is very much so. It's like, wait, it's like she's like,
don't cross me.
Yeah, I just hated Dina so much. I tried to, Dina was really irritating me. It's like, Dina, it's like it was funny because like in my stream, people were like saying like, "Why do you hate Dina so much?" It's like because she's selfish. It's like how do you know that you're pregnant and then like or you already were in the inkling thinking that you were pregnant and then you go through this kind of trek because it's not like it was like immediate like a week or anything. It was like a month trek just to get over to where they were at. They finally get to it and then now you're like, okay, I need to stay here for the rest of the thing.
I love Jesse. I love Jesse though. I love that character.
Like you, Dina.
I know. I felt so bad. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I did love Jesse.
I screamed, I threw the controller and I got up so quick. I ripped, because I was wearing shorts that night. I ripped the skin off my thighs with this leather chair. I was like, God damn it.
Oh,
and Shimmer, why the horse? Why are you always, can I zoom in? Why are you always killing my horse?
Shimmer, that was really crazy too. And then, but it was actually nice when you saw like Tommy come back.
I know.
Tommy survived.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
I was like,
did y'all not at the
Joel
end?
and just still around
For the last like 2 hours, were you not like, oh, this is the ending? and then it
Oh
wasn't.
God,
And
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, now this is the ending. Oh, no, it's not. Now this is the ending." Oh my
The only
god.
other game that did that for me that was making me so annoyed was Metal Gear Solid 4. That because like I was just like, oh, okay, is this over yet? It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Nope.
Okay, this has to be it, right? Nope,
Nope.
more cinema. Okay, let's go. Yeah,
But I
exactly.
liked it.
So
I
it was
lived
so
for it.
funny.
It made me happy. Oh,
Like
you too.
they totally she took out another group of people in a different state just to get these two people. I'm like, my gosh, dude, like your kill count's worse than Joel now at this point. And that's worse. Oh boy, yeah. All right, so like yeah, that was cool. So like I'd say, so we pretty much give it all a thumbs up, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like I
it's a
would
must
say,
play.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. I think for me personally, especially as a gamer, a 6 and a 7, like out of 10, doesn't mean you need to cast it out. In my opinion. Now, when you see like when you go on Metacritic and you see a 3 or a 2, when games that bad is either that they just do not work, like functionally work in just normal mechanics, or like or just it just does they just did a half-ass job. This game did not do that in
No.
any means. I think like the story story wise may not be as strong, but it's still good. So but the biggest thing I want people to really convey on this is that play the game, do not go by
What
other
anyone
people
else says.
the level of opinions, because there's too many people, there's too many things downvoting on this thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely got its sales, because I think in the first week it got 4 million copies sold, but like still, like play the game. I mean, like I think that you will you'll have a different opinion of what you think this game is. Don't write the game off. I think that in the most part is something that that should be said about this game,
Absolutely.
if anything. So but yeah, so like I said, we're definitely gonna update this special spoiler cast here on on the CFG channel on our YouTube, and we're also going to put it on our website, confreaksandgeeks.com, and we'll have it set for our for podcast services as well. So definitely check us out, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening to a group of gamers just giving their opinions on this game.
Nerding
And
out.
yes, and if you have if y'all have any kind of options, or what y'all think we should also kind of do a spoiler cast on, please let us know in the comments below. Anyways, this is Davis, Smitty, Lex, peace and out. We'll see you next time.